Right before we jump into this Sigma versus Otus comparison, I want to let you know if you haven't signed up for the Fronos Photo email list, you can click on the screen right now. Just look for this orange box over on the website, put your name, email address in it, hit send it, and I will send you a free guide to capturing motion in low light situations. Jared Polin, FronosPhoto.com here with the review or comparison of the Sigma 51.4 for Canon and the Zeiss Otus 55mm that is also for a Canon mount. Now, both of these lenses are being touted as some of the sharpest of sharpest with honors, sir. And I'm here to do some tests and some comparisons. And as much as I want to get out into the real world and do some actual real live shooting, we're going to have to do some setups in here because it's not a great day out there and I don't have a lot of time with these lenses before I have to get them back because, well, I have to get the Otus back because it's really expensive. First things first, pricing-wise, $950 for the Sigma. Pricing for the Zeiss. Did you see I didn't really touch it because I'm trying not to touch it too much? This one is just under $4,000. That is a big price difference to have. There's a lot of other things we're going to look at. We're going to look at how they smell, how the wind tunnel test looks, how heavy they are. We're going to do real-world shootings using the bobblehead. We're going to see the bokeh of the bobblehead behind it. We're going to shoot the brick walls that I have, just to give you guys some examples side by side. Now again, this is a 50 and this is a 55, so it's not going to be exact. But my goal here is to give you images to look at so that you can pixel peep for yourself to determine, do I want a lens that's $4,000 just to say that, hey, I spent $4,000 on a lens? Or is this Sigma 50 the one for you? So there's RAW files, there's full res edited JPEGs, or edited or unedited. I'm not sure which ones they're going to be yet, but they're going to be there. So this is what I have laid out for you. So first things first, why don't we look at, well, how they look. Yep, this has yellow printing, and this has white printing. So I don't know if one has an advantage there. The Otus is definitely more shiny. It definitely is shinier, and this has more of a dull finish. How do they feel in the hands? Holy Otus. I mean, that Otus is as heavy as an Otus elevator. I mean, I'm surprised that I don't have a weighting system to try to raise this thing up as I hold it. That Otus is built, I mean, it is incredible how well this Zeiss lens is made. It probably is worth the $4,000 that it costs, or just shy of that, because Zeiss makes some tremendously amazing glass. Now, what do we think about, well, we got how it weighs. Obviously, the Zeiss is much heavier. If you're interested in weight savings, the Sigma is going to be better for you. If it doesn't matter how much it weighs, then you can afford it. That's what it's all going to come down to for this lens, especially this Otus. Comparison-wise, on the wind tunnel test, we're going to have to get down here and see. You know what? I think the Sigma's better on the wind tunnel test. The reason I'm going to tell you is it's not as tall. It's more squat, closer to the piano here, and that the Otus blocks it more. So if you're doing something that deals with wind and you need some aerodynamics, the Sigma's going to win there. That's a very important test in my book. Sniff test-wise, Sigma smells like it's affordable, and the Zeiss still smells like LASIK eye surgery because it is sharp as sharp can be. They're actually pretty darn sharp because I've already reviewed this lens separately, but this is a comparison of them both. I want to jump to some real-world examples now because that's what you guys want to see. So let me set up the Bobble McBobbleson. Yeah, that's right. He shoots raw. We're going to set up the bobblehead. We're going to do some close focus tests. We're going to run through f1.4 all the way up to wherever it goes. We're going to see how it works, and I'll be using the 5D Mark III because these are both Canon lenses. So let's jump on to that. So the first test that I want to run through is the autofocus test, and I have the Sigma set up on the 5D Mark III right now to check out its autofocus. Yep, it's autofocusing. It is moving. So that's a good thing. That means it actually does it. So let's switch over to the Otus and see how that one autofocuses. All right, so let's try the autofocus right here of this lens. Yep. It's not moving. Nope, nothing happening. Oh wait, let me twist this knob. Now it's Now it's manually focusing. Yeah, that's what I didn't say earlier, is that this Otus is a $4,000 manual focus lens. That means it will not be autofocusing. That means it's going to be very difficult to shoot a lot of things if you have bad eyes and don't have LASIK surgery, which you probably should invest the $4,000 to LASIK surgery if your eyes don't work so well over getting this lens. You're going to have trouble focusing. If you're shooting moving subjects, the Otus isn't going to be for you because, well, it's not going to help you out because it doesn't autofocus. You have to manually do everything, and that, for somebody like me, is kind of like a no-no. It's not going to work. It's not going to fly. But maybe this lens could be used for Cine. Maybe it's a good Cine lens, but the only other thing is you're not going to be able to put one of those Cine thingies that you spin like this because there are no notches to do the smooth focus with this. So maybe it's not even meant to shoot with video, but I'm sure it would take some amazing video nonetheless. But that test, let's see, the winner of the autofocus test between the Sigma and the Otus Zeiss is Sigma, because it actually autofocuses. So now let's do a close focusing test. What that means is I want to get as close as possible to my bobblehead right here, as close as it will focus. In this case, it says a ½ meter, and that's where we have it set right here. We're going to go through a test from 1.4 all the way to f/16, and in the background we've placed my Tetris lights so that you can see different color bokeh in the background and just basically pixel peep. So the point here is to get as close to this bobblehead as possible where we can focus. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use live view right now to get my focus right because it has to be tack sharp at 1.4. 1.4 is it's very, very hard to shoot at 1.4, especially without autofocus. Now that you have to manually do it, I don't know that you can get it as good as you really want if a subject is moving. But here, inanimate object, we can do it all day long. So right now, we've got this locked at 1.4, and I want to start the process and go all the way through to f/16. So we're at 400 ISO. I'm using aperture priority just so that we can go through these images and keep them all pretty similar. So here we go, 1.4. All right, let's go up to the next. Let's go to 1.6. Boom. 1.8. f2, and now let's do f/16. Boom. So we went from 1.4 all the way to f/16. I didn't want to make you guys sit here and watch me do f1.6, 1.8, 2, 2.5. But the whole point here is to let you guys look at these images on the computer and determine for yourself how sharp this thing really is. So let me look at the back of the camera here. I want to take a look at f/16 and then f1.4. This is insane. At 1.4, zoomed all the way in here, we can see that it looks like the bobblehead's eye is in focus. That's important, but the nose isn't even close to being in focus. Some of the beard isn't, and even the eyebrows aren't because 1.4 is so narrow. It's such a shallow depth of field. But as we go and we look, and let's just jump right to 16, and it's like, ba-bam. You can see how the bokeh goes from really bokeh-licious, as Kai Wang would say, to almost, you can see the bricks. You can see outside my window. Now, the reason you're not seeing f/16 getting everything in focus is because we are close focusing. We are not set to infinity and beyond right here, and we may do some other tests after that you won't watch, but just to give you some more sample images. So f/16 looks great. And then going to something like f2.2, like that is so sweet. And the bokeh looks amazing with those colors in the background. So I think this is a pretty good test for you guys to see the quality of the lens. And it is as sharp as a tack. It's sharp as a Mac the knife on top of it as well. So really, really, really nice. Obviously set up in a controlled environment. Not sure how it would work out on the street. But for this environment, obviously, I think it worked pretty well. So now we're going to run through the same process with the Sigma 51.4 and see what we come up with there. So now we've switched over to the 50 1.4 Sigma lens. Now what I have to tell you is that this is a 50, the other one was a 55. The whole point of this little test is to get the closest focusing that we could do. So the frames are going to be slightly different, but of course one's a 55 and this one is a 50, so it's going to look different. But we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to run it from 1.4 all the way up to 16. So I'm going to check my focus, get here into live view. That looks pretty darn good. Eyes looking focused, turn that off. Here we go, 1.4, boom. 1.6, Boom. Let's get some 1.8. F2. And now F16. Boom. So let's take a quick look at these. We've got F16, looks nice. I mean, it's so hard to tell, obviously, on the back of the screen what is going on compared to what you guys can see on the computer. But that's why I've given you the access to download the full res JPEGs and some of the raw files that we put up so that you can pixel peep. I know that Steven's going to pop some up on the screen back and forth so you can see what 1.4 looks like from the Otus and 1.4 looks like from the Sigma. Now, of course, again, slightly different focal distances with the 50 and the 55, but really, you're really getting into pixel peeping at this point when it comes to doing this. So we've done these two little tests. Now I'm going to go ahead, go out and about. I don't know how far I'm actually going to go, but I'm going to go shoot some of this lens. We're going to go shoot some sample images, and that's what I'm going to do, and then come back, wrap this up, give you my opinion, and then let you guys pixel peep to your little heart's desires so you can do whatever you'd like to do. So there you have it. We'll be right back. So I want to wrap this up. Now, I went out and I shot some other sample images. Now, when I say went out, that doesn't mean I went too far. I don't have this lens for very long, so I wanted to make sure that we at least got some sample images so that you could do your pixel peeping all you want. So I did some basic stuff. Ideally, in the ideal world, in a world where I could do whatever I wanted and had owned this lens, we would go out and do an actual photo shoot with it and do the best that we could. But in this case, we're just touching the surface of it just so that we could do this comparison, and that's exactly what we did. So all the files are over on the website. You can download some of the raw files. You can pixel peep all you want, but let's just think about it. This one is $950 for the Sigma. The Otus is fantastic, but it's $4,000, and it lost the autofocus test by a lot. It actually didn't even rank anywhere. It ranked a 0 out of 2 million, or even 10. It was a 0 out of 10 in autofocus because it doesn't autofocus at all. So you have to ask yourself, what use does a 55mm 1.4 non-autofocus lens have for you? For me, it doesn't have a use because I have trouble with my eyes. I do not see focus very well. So I have trouble and always have had trouble with manual focus. And it is beautiful. It is sharp. It creates a ton of great images. But you have to say, for $950, the quality that you're getting out of the Sigma, the fact that it autofocuses, the fact that it's so damn sharp, and at about 2.5, 2.2, it just looks amazing for the pictures that I've seen and the pictures that I've taken, that I don't know how you don't save $3,000 unless you've got all the money to burn in the world and you just want to have something called an Otus in your bag. So really, I'd have to say, if you were fighting between a 55-1.4 and a 50-1.4 between the Otus and the Sigma, I'd be going with the Sigma because that lens is going to definitely be, well, you're going to have a lot more money to spend on other things in the end, and that's really pretty much all there's going to be. So I want to thank Mr. Bobblehead right here.
Let's unbox it and give it a snippy snip.
That's exactly what we did. What else does he say?
Thingamabobber.
Thingamabobber. If you want to pick yourself up a Fronos Photo bobblehead, you can do that at store.fronosphoto.com. I want to thank Alan's Camera. Check out alanscamera.com if you'd like to purchase one of the Sigmas for Nikon or Canon, or the Otus for Nikon or Canon. You can call them at 215-547-2841. But I want to thank them for the support that they've given me and for allowing me to use these and test out these lenses so that we could bring you guys some samples to pixel peep, and that is it. Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com. See ya.